Hey everyone, today I've got 4 beginner-friendly watercolor ideas for you. I'm gonna use my Moleskine Watercolor Sketchbook because I'm currently trying to really fill this thing, and I'm getting started with a little bit of a sketch, and I'm sketching out a pretty basic landscape. So, basic not in a negative sense, just not too many details. We have a castle in the background, some bushes and some mountains, and a little bit of water and a little bit of foreground. And I'm starting to fill everything, paint everything. In the beginning, I was also using a kneaded eraser, so my lines don't show through that much. And then I colored everything in. So you can switch up this idea and you can paint a different kind of house. You can add in towers or leave them out. You can change out the landscape by changing the island that the castle is on. You can change the mountains, the colors. Basically, this is just an idea and you can use it however you want. But you can also just go ahead and colored exactly the same way that I did. And by the way, here's my little kitty cat. You might see him sometimes in this video, like a few times, because he was sitting on my lap for a while and popped in his head every now and then. And I think it's very cute, but also distracting. So most of the time, the cats are locked out of my office because it's really hard to focus with 2 little cats there. They're almost a year old now, so they're not kittens anymore, but still very, very energetic. So if you want to get work done, you better do it without them. That's what I've been doing, using the cats for breaks mainly, and locking them out when I'm really working most of the time. So you can see the whole picture coming together here, and it's been a long time since I used watercolors. It feels like it's probably even been a year. That might not even be wrong. Like, I've used a lot of gouache lately, and I've used a lot of Caran markers, but that were my main mediums for a while. And I think it's been a long time since I used watercolors, so I really wanted to get into it a little bit more and really focus on filling this sketchbook with different media. And my next course is probably going to be about sketchbooks. And when I say probably, I mean definitely. I'm gonna work on that course. Just need to figure out how to structure it and what everyone actually wants to know about sketchbooks and learn about filling them. So if you have any specific things that you struggle with when it comes to sketchbooks or any questions, let me know. I'd love to include it in the course or record a video where I talk about it. So just let me know your thoughts on sketchbooks. Do you keep one? Do you struggle with it? Have you filled sketchbooks before? Or are you more the type that starts and abandons them? That used to be me, by the way. So this is the first idea, and now for the second one on the other page, I did something a little bit different style-wise. So you can see here that I started with a yellow circle, which is obviously the sun, and then I doodled around it. And I always love to do things like that because it is so relaxing to do these doodles, and it's been a long time since I did this with watercolors, so I was really excited for this idea. You can see that at the bottom I was painting waves in this style. And at the top, I did some doodles around the sun. This is gonna be some kind of sunset theme. And I always left a little bit of white in between all of my doodles. So those are kind of the line art in a way because I left them. And then I did all of the colors in the sky are basically sunset colors. So different orange, pink tones and a little bit of purple on the outside and sort of a gradient towards more blue tones. So I kind of tried to do this gradient and I'm pretty happy with all of the colors. The only thing that I don't like as much is the fact that I don't have any green in here and the side on the right is so green heavy, so it kind of doesn't fit perfectly, but it's okay. It's not like it completely clashes. And I feel like in this scene, green would not have worked at all. We have waves and sunset, a sky, and in the sky, green usually doesn't work unless you have some kind of polar lights. But yeah, we are slowly but surely filling this page, and you can switch up those doodles however you want, and you don't have to think about every single one of them. You just think about leaving some space in between them and filling out the page. So here's this finished page and the page spread together. So now let's move on to the next page spread. You can see that the paper warped a little bit here. It's not the perfect watercolor paper, but it's okay. Here we're gonna do a chameleon, and you saw that I cut out this print that I printed out with my printer. Wow, so genius. And I put some pencil on the back of it and taped it to my sketchbook and then pressed really hard. So with this method, I got this kind of sketch down, and then I moved on to coloring. So I kind of skipped the sketching phase, and I love to do that when I feel lazy and don't want to sketch. And I just wanted to use the chameleon as is. Didn't want to change it anyways. Liked the pose and everything, so why not do this like that? It's a shortcut, and especially if you're a beginner, go ahead and do this. I, by the way, had an art teacher in college who told me that if I did that, I wasn't a real artist and I was basically cheating, and that this would ruin my art and people could tell that I traced it. And she really made it out like we are bad people if we want to do this. So this is where I'm coming from when I say some people will consider this cheating, and most people comment on my videos, hey, it's not cheating, it's art. And I completely agree. I don't think you can cheat in art, but there's still people who think that, especially art teachers for some reason. And she also gave me a bad grade in art and told me that I'm not a good artist, essentially. But here we are today. I'm a full-time artist. I just quit my part-time job so I can go full-time in my business, and here I am, and it's working out, and I have a YouTube channel. So never let anyone tell you what you can and can't do. I went on a little bit of a tangent here, but that was important for me to get out. You can see that the chameleon got some details. I started painting it with some yellow and pink tones, and as always you can use your favorite colors here. And I also put some leaves on our tree so that it looks a little bit more colorful and the composition is a little bit more filled. And I gave the chameleon some textures, some dots and lines. Mostly did that with the red pink tone. And then I also added a little bit of darker tones, a little bit of blue tones for the shadow parts. And here I'm using my Van Gogh watercolors. These are metallic colors. I was using this bronze or more of a warm golden tone. And I also used one of the other shiny colors. So if you now flip the painting towards the light, it looks so cool. And sometimes I really love adding some finishing touches to my paintings when I do this. And even though it's more of a simple painting somewhat in my sketchbook, now it has this magical touch with these colors. So even if your painting doesn't turn out perfect, use sparkly colors and make it look really cool. That's my tip here. For the next page, I actually followed a tutorial by Macugino. I have always wanted to recreate her negative color painting, however she called it. And I thought it would look so fun. It looked so fun to do, essentially. And I wanted to recreate it and change it up a little bit with the shapes that I usually use for leaves. Like I use these shapes most of the time for all of my illustrations that have some kind of leaves and forest on them, and slowly starting to turn into somewhat of a style. And I wanted to use these shapes, and I just started to paint the page with a green tone. Then I drew some sketches for leaves. Then I painted around those. You can see what I did here. And I repeated that over and over again and added more and more of them. And so some of those leaves are lighter and some of those leaves are darker. And that way we get this really cool effect. I think it looks like they've been cut out. And I really love that. I think it looks so fun. So I will leave Macuccino's tutorial in the description box down below because she describes this much slower, so you can actually follow along. But this is my last idea for this video. And I also uploaded a new episode for the Visual Mind podcast, so I will leave that in the description box below as well. And I recently started a German YouTube channel, so you will find German versions of my videos on there. And in case you do speak German or are currently learning it, please go ahead and check out that channel because it's still very new. It needs a little bit of love. Some comments would be nice, and please subscribe to the new channel. And I really want to see if I can reach a new audience if I also make videos in German. It's my first language, but it's still I'm not used to it at all, let's say it like that, because I've been doing YouTube in English for such a long time now that it just comes more naturally to me. But in English, I struggle to find the words, and now in German, I also struggle to find some other words. Being bilingual means you will always struggle, essentially. But it is a privilege to speak more languages fluently, so I kind of want to use that privilege and make those videos in 2 languages. We will see how that goes. So in conclusion, check out the channel and the podcast. And here's our finished page spread. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and liked those ideas. And if you did so, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.